Hi guys! For my analysis assignment, I chose to write about the movie Frequency. I'm just gonna read directly what I wrote down for the plot because I feel like if I try to talk about it from the top of my head, it has the potential to be very confusing. So basically, the movie follows two different storylines. The first one is John Sullivan, who is a police officer in present-day New York City. And the second storyline follows Frank Sullivan, who is John's father and a firefighter in 1969. So because this movie was released in 2000, that's a 30-year difference. In present day, John discovers a radio that belonged to his father, and he remembers his father always talking to a man on the radio. And out of curiosity, he decides to turn it on, and he is shocked that, first of all, it works, and then even more so that he hears his father talking to him on the radio because Frank died in a warehouse fire in 1969. So, out of desperation to save his father, John warns Frank about the fire, and instead of dying, Frank does live, but this of course creates a chain event of events that completely alters the present day for John now. Instead of Frank dying, Julia, John's mother and Frank's wife, actually ends up dying. So there is a serial killer called the Nightingale, who during the timeline when Frank originally died had only killed 3 people in the 1960s, but after Frank gets out of the fire instead of dies, the Nightingale actually kills 10 people in present day, and one of those people was Julia. So the plot of the story is just John and Frank working together through over these, not over 30 years because they're happening simultaneously, but connecting through the radio, and they're trying to solve the murders in order to save Julia. Basically, this is actually one of my favorite movies, and I think for me what I like the most about it is kind of just that the details, every detail matters. For example, one of the scenes, Frank in the 60s gets his hands on the Nightingale's wallet, and he can't run fingerprint recognition, so he has to find a way to hide the wallet so that 30 years from then, John can get his hands on the wallet and run fingerprint recognition. It's just little things like that throughout the entire story that make it so intriguing, and also the fact that you get a lot of breadcrumbs throughout and a lot of like little puzzle pieces that don't make much sense about who is the killer, what's gonna happen, like how does all of this connect, but by the end of the movie everything just flawlessly fits into place. And I'm not gonna give away anything that happens, but I will say even just so the way in which it all fits together is super satisfying. Also, I already mentioned the plot, but I am not somebody who typically is interested in science fiction. I actually didn't want to watch this movie, but my mom loved this movie, and so she made me and my sister watch it. And it's not a lot of science fiction, it's really just the radio frequency, the fact that it's connecting 2 different time periods, but that in itself has more inspired me to expand on the genres that I write in, because typically I'm just a read and write romance girl, but now I'm more interested in science fiction as a whole, and also thrillers, because this movie is a thriller. It's not a scary one, but it is a mystery and it's a thriller, and it's definitely dramatic. There's a lot of situations, especially because they are a firefighter and a police officer, and there's a serial killer in which the characters are in some life-threatening environments. So throughout the entire story, you're just on the edge of your seat. I highly recommend it to anyone who likes thrillers, first of all, anyone who likes Dennis Quaid, because he is in this movie, and anyone who likes 2000s films, because I know that like older movies have just a rare quality about them that you don't get anymore. And this one, yes, obviously it is a 2000 movie, but it's done in such a way where it's timeless. I think this movie is just amazing, and it checks all of the boxes. So Dennis Quaid, I mean, come on. Anyway.